Hi everyone, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and I am here today to show you how the exterior of our collaborative duffel bag comes together. I am really happy with your selections for the pockets. We are going to have a front and a rear slip pocket that is sandwiched in between the handles, as well as two side zipper pockets on each end there. And all of these pockets are fully lined. So this, as you can see, is shaping up to be a really nice size duffel. I would describe it as an average size duffel bag, and it should definitely fit under your seat if you're flying by airplane or in the overhead compartments. I am going to show you today again how to craft the exterior of this bag. So shall we get started? Okay, so I want to show you the prep work that I have done in advance of setting up the recording to save us a little time. I have crafted one of the side zipper pockets, and this pocket is fully lined, and that's where I put that beautiful, colorful Free Spirit fabric that I showed you on Instagram yesterday. And then I am using a zipper that is too long for this pocket, but that's because I love the colors on these YKK zippers, and so I'm just going to trim that off in case you were wondering. So I have the side zipper pocket ready to roll, and we're going to craft one of those together. And then I have one of the front body panels ready to go too, and that has a fully lined slip pocket in between the handles, and I have stitched that handle in place with multiple rows of stitching to encase that pocket, so there is no chance this handle is coming loose. So what we are going to work on together is crafting that second side zipper pocket, which is going to have a turquoise zipper, and that is strategic so I can have some color recognition and know which pocket I put what contents inside of. So for the lining on these pockets, I cut a 9-inch tall by 10-inch wide cut of cotton quilt weight fabric, and I took the top edge of that and I pressed it over about a 1/2 inch, and then I have a like-size piece of my exterior fabric, which is a woven home decor weight, and I have pressed the top edge of that over about a 1/2 inch, and then I have my turquoise zipper, and I have a 3-inch by 10-inch strip of fabric that I'm going to use to frame the top of the zipper, and I pressed that in half long ways, and then I brought those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line, and that is going to encase the top of that zipper. So what I want to do now is sandwich this zipper tape in between the pocket lining and the pocket exterior, and I am going to bump that zipper over a bit because I don't want there to be any gap in between where the zipper starts and stops on these exterior pockets, and all of that excess zipper will be trimmed up, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I'm going to take my trim piece and position that right on top, and then I want to flip this pocket over so I can get the lining lined up with the base and the sides. I don't want the lining to overlap the zipper teeth, but I want to make sure that it is aligned on the sides and the base there before I turn that over and use these pins to go through all of those layers. And then what I want to do is test this zipper to make sure that I'm not going to capture that lining in there and everything functions nice. Now I am going to switch out to the zipper foot to attach this zipper to this pocket, and that's just going to allow me to get nice and close to those zipper teeth. If you do not have a zipper foot, perhaps you can adjust your needle position. So I'm going to stitch across the top and the bottom of that zipper to secure it to these fabric panels. Okay, so I have that zipper tape along the bottom there in between the lining and the exterior, and then across the top there the zipper tape is exposed, but all of this is going to get encased on that exterior side panel. So I just want to test my zipper, and it does function very nice. So now I want to bring over my side exterior panel, which is 10 by 10, and I'm going to position this zipper pocket right on top of that panel, and it should be very close to the same measurements. In the event that yours is a little larger, your pocket, go ahead and line up the top of that body panel, or side panel rather. Go ahead and line up the top of that side panel with the top of your pocket and let the excess be on the base of the pocket. So now what I want to do is run a row of stitching right across the top of that panel so I can secure this zipper pocket to this side panel. And I'm going to switch out to my regular presser foot. And I'm just aligning the right hand edge of the presser foot with the top of that panel. Okay, so I have two awesome side zipper pockets ready to go. One of them is turquoise and one of them is hot pink. So I'll have that color identification, and these pockets were attached directly to those side panels. So these are now the sides of my exterior. So the next thing that we want to work on is crafting the slip pocket, which is going to be sandwiched in between the exterior handles on the opposite body panel. And this is also crafted from two pieces of material that are 9 inches tall by 10 inches across, and I folded both of those top edges over and press those, and I'm just going to stagger this pocket just a bit so that that lining pops up as a little accent there. And I'm going to run 2 rows of stitching across here to finish the top of that pocket. Okay, so now I have a lined pocket panel prepped and 2 rows of stitching, and you can see a little accent there across the top, which is really pretty. I want to mark center on this pocket so I know approximately where that is, and I'm just gonna put a pin in that. Then I want to bring over my remaining front and or rear body panel. They are identical, so it doesn't really matter if you reference it as the front or the rear. And I want to find center on that. And then I am going to position this pocket right on top of that panel with the centers aligned. And I should end up with about 6 inches on each side of the pocket. And so I'm going to go ahead and pin that in place, and I'm going to stitch down the sides, across the base, and up the side using 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so now my pocket is attached to that exterior panel, but I have these raw edges, which are not ideal. So what I have done is crafted a 4-ply fabric strap, and this is crafted in the same way that I craft all of my straps. I take that long 6-inch cut of fabric, I press it in half long ways, I bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line, and then I fold it over again and give it a good press. I do have a 1.5-inch strip of fusible fleece to offer the strap a little bit of padding. I just wanted just a tiny bit of padding to keep the strap from wrinkling up, because this fabric is pretty thick, and so once I have 4 layers of fabric plus the body layers here, I did not want to risk breaking a needle. So if you are using cotton fabric, you may be able to put in additional interfacing there and make an even more padded, comfy strap for yourself. So I want to give you the length on this strap here. This strap is 43 inches long, and again, that was cut from a piece of material that's 6 inches wide by 43 inches long. If you need more room, you're going to make your handle longer. If you would like a shorter drop, which is the distance from the top of the bag to the top of the strap, you're going to make your handle shorter. So what I want to do now is position these straps right on top of that pocket so that raw edge is about center on the strap there. And I am going to run 4 rows of stitching down each of these straps, 4 additional rows. 2 will be on the inside of that original stitch line, and 2 will be right along the edge of that strap. And so that is going to allow me to do 2 things. One, most importantly, reinforce this strap so that it is nice and secure on the bag. Since I'll be using this for travel, I do not want to take the chance that my strap may give out when I am en route. And the second purpose of all of that stitching is to fully encase this raw pocket edges. In case I would like to launder this bag, I don't want that pocket to fray apart. So I'm going to go ahead and secure the handle. Okay, so I have 4 additional rows of stitching, 6 in total on each strap, each side of the strap rather. And now I want to add 3 more rows of stitching horizontally here, just in line with the stitching on the pocket. So there's 2 rows of stitching here on the pocket top. I'll hit that, and then 1 additional row right across the top of that pocket. Now my thread blends very nice with this fabric, and this is kind of a woven slub type fabric, so the stitches just sink down in there and the stitching is not terribly obvious. If your stitching is going to be very obvious, you're going to want to take care to stitch nice and straight, or choose a thread that matches your fabric really well. So again, I'm just going to add 3 more rows of stitching on each side, and then I think it's fair to say my straps are secure. All right, so now I have 2 really nice front/rear body panels that are 10 inches tall by 22 inches wide, and they have a center slip pocket on each of them, and that pocket is fully lined, and then I have securely attached my handle to both of those. And then I also have 2 really nicely finished side zipper pockets with coordinating zippers, so I can tell what contents are in what pocket. And then I have a base panel, which is 10 by 22 inches. I am not going to be using any interfacing on the exterior of this bag. This is a very durable fabric that I'm working with here, and I like my duffels to take the shape of the contents and be able to fold relatively flat when I am not using them, because they are larger bags, and so I don't want them to take up a lot of space. They're definitely not everyday bags, and so they need to be stored. So if you need to add interfacing to your fabric, go ahead and do that. Just keep in mind that you're going to have to store this bag. So now what I want to do is pull back this zipper pull just a bit so I don't accidentally strike that when I am attaching these side panels. We're going to use my modified T method to create the exterior of this bag. So I'm going to position these side panels on the right and the left hand sides of one of these body panels, and I will worry about those zippers a little later. So again, same thing, I'm just going to open up that zipper a little bit so I don't catch that when I'm stitching. And I'm lining up the top and the sides of this side panel with my body panel. And so that's what that will look like when I open it up. Very nice. So now using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch down the right and the left hand sides of this to create a tri-folding panel. And my machine did not have any difficulty stitching through that zipper. Now I can go ahead and trim away that zipper on the right hand side there. This other one will get trimmed, the long part of the other one will get trimmed when I attach that side, but I can go ahead and trim this little bit here on the right hand side there. And then I'm going to take out these pins and open this up so you can get a look at this tri-folding panel, which now attached my zipper pockets to the, we'll call this the front of the bag. And so I want to set this tri-folding panel aside for a moment, and I want to bring over the rear of the bag there, which has my pocket in between the handle. And I'm going to take my base panel and I'm going to position that right sides facing on top of that rear panel, and I'm going to line up the base, and using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch across the base there to create a bi-folding panel. And that's what that looks like. So the raw edges of the handle are encased in that base seam, and it's just so pretty. Now I want to bring back over my tri-folding panel, and I am going to take the bi-folding panel and align the base of that with the base of the tri-folding panel. And I want to get that centered on there, and I'm going to go ahead and pin that in place. And then I am going to stitch seam to seam. And so you can flip this over on the opposite side so you can see the seams if you like, or you can feel for those. But seam to seam is different than end to end. I will be leaving that seam allowance, which is 5/8 of an inch, on each side. So it is important that you have this panel centered on there and that you stitch seam to seam using 5/8 of an inch. And now I have a very large panel that resembles a big fat T. That is why I call it the T method. So using the modified T method, I am now going to line up the base of my pocket panel with the side of my base. So the base of this zipper pocket will get aligned with the side of the base. And so you just fold that over. And the same thing is going to happen. I'm going to center this on that panel, and I am only stitching seam to seam. So you may need to pin that. I'm going to hold mine nice and straight, and I'm going to start 5/8 of an inch in and stitch right to that seam. And then I'm going to repeat that process on the opposite side. Okay, and now my stage is set there, and the last thing that I need to do is raise up this remaining panel here, and I am going to be aligning the sides. So this side here has that long zipper tail, which I will trim after I get this side stitched in place. So I'm going to stitch from the top right to the seam. Then I'm going to repeat that process on the opposite side there. All right, and now the exterior body is complete. I do want to trim off this zipper excess there. I didn't have any problems whatsoever sewing through this fabric or through those zipper teeth, and that is largely because I did not interface this. I may have had difficulties if I had added interfacing, particularly at the base with the straps. So you have to consider your fabric selection and your machine's capabilities when you are choosing your interfacing for this project. So I want to turn this around so you can see what the bag looks like, and then I'm going to give you some preliminary measurements and some information about the next design poll, because we have to get started on the interior of this project. So this is going to be a really nice size bag, definitely big enough for a weekend. Okay, absolutely love my fabric choice. So pretty. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, let me tell you how we're doing on the measurements here. Okay, so across the base we ended up being 20.5 inches, and right now we are coming in at 9 inches tall, but that's going to decrease some because we still have to attach a zipper to this. I think we're going to need to use the birthing method for this bag, but I will reserve the right to change my mind on that after we make some more decisions. And then it's 8 3/4 inches deep. So again, a really nice size here. So important decisions, and I can't really give you a good idea of, well, let's see here. Maybe if I hold it like that, that you might be able to get an idea of how much interior cargo room we have here. And it is a fair amount of cargo room. So in the inspiration piece, there are 3 divided compartments on the inside. This bag, let's just for our ease say it is 20 inches across. When you divide 20 by 3, that would end up making your compartments roughly have about 6 inches of usable space, which is not a lot. Another option for us would be to incorporate 2 10-inch divided compartments on the inside of this. That would be my recommendation, but I have a third option for you, which you might also like as well. We could do 2 very long compartments, which would be approximately 20 inches long by about 4 inches, anywhere from 4 to 5 inches deep. So those compartments would be long rectangles, and you could add bank of pockets down each of those panels, or we could end up with 2 square interior compartments or 3 rectangular interior compartments. So I hope that makes sense to you. Basically, you're going to be voting on if you want to have 2 wide interior compartments, 3 narrow interior compartments, or 2 narrow long interior compartments. So I will link to the design poll for you down in the notes. Make sure that you cast your vote. All right, everybody, thank you so much for voting in the design polls and for sewing with me today. The next step for you is to decide how many interior compartments you would like on this bag. So cast your vote, and then I will see you next week. We will assemble the interior of this bag. I think we're going to go long on this project, and we're going to need another week past that to install the zipper and price it out. Hope that works out okay for everybody. So we should be finishing this bag, I believe, on Friday, April 1st. So 2 more videos to go, and likely 2 design polls, including the one for the interior. So until we meet again, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I'll see you Friday, everybody. Thank you.